boy is dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world. Yeah. That's what's up. Hey, man. This is about to go down. It's about to be one of the greatest shows, I believe, on YouTube for sure. Because we're going to be talking about some specific things involving men and women, but also we got some heavy hitters on this evening. And you always know, I believe we're going to have a good show because I said so. You know, I try to speak things into existence. So we're going to be talking about women don't want good men. And the reason why I said that is from a situation that happened this past week. I was with my wife and her friends, or one of her friends that had other friends. And this guy came up to me while I was at the bar, if you will. And he said, "Hey, black man." I was like, "Okay, what's up?" He said, "Well, that woman that's with you, the light skinned lady, is she taken?" I said, "I don't know if she's taken, you know." And he said, "Well, would you find out for me?" So I went over to find out if she was taken. She said that she was not taken. She said, but before that, she said, "Who's the guy that's asking?" I said, "The gentleman that's over there at the bar." And she said, "Oh, okay, cool. Yes, I am not taken at all. I'm definitely single." Some to that degree. I may be a little exaggerating because it's a story, right? But the part that happened was she goes over, she comes back, and everybody's at the table like, "So what? What is it? What you think?" She says, "He was nice, but I like mine a little rough around the edges." She had only been there 3 to 5 minutes, and she had already speculated that he was too nice. So that brought me to kind of question: do women not like good dudes? Because from his perspective, he was like, "I wanted to be respectful by asking somebody and not interrupt the party." So we'll get to that in a moment. But in the meantime, we're going to ask the question of the day, and that is, what part of your workday are you the most focused on? What part of your workday are you the most focused on? And we're going to start with, as we know, the sultry voice himself, Mr. Lawson Translation. What's up, homie?
How
What's
you doing, Humble Dad? Good to see you,
Yeah,
brother.
you too, bro?
Good. Listen, the best part that I'm focused on in my workday is the very beginning, man, because how you start the day is how you end it. You know what I mean? I like to go ahead and get everything planned out, get caught up with any emails that I need to take care of, and then after that, it's on and popping. So that way I can go ahead and get everything set up and situated so everybody knows what needs to happen for that day. It kind of sets the tone for the day.
That's a bet. Appreciate you being here as usual.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And then welcome to the stage. He thinks his Steelers are going to win the championship. He is delusional. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Prototype.
Man, you know we going to the Super Bowl this year. You said these moves we're making, man.
For sure. What you got?
Man, just like Lost, man. The first part of my day, and I get up early, like at 4 a.m. And that's when, like, from 4 to 7, that's the most focused. I'm not really interrupted, and I still have like an athletic clock. So around 2 o'clock, I want to go outside. I want to train. Like, so my body feels like I should be at practice or something. So around 2 o'clock, you can't put me on no work. I got to go do something like lift something. So yeah, man, first part of the day for me.
That's what's up. Appreciate you being here, bro. Hey, and we're going to welcome to the stage. Hey, listen, I enjoy this dude's perspective. So I'm wondering what he's going to say on this topic this evening. Welcome to the stage. Give me a second.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Good to see y'all, man. See y'all in the Wild Prototype and Lost in Translation. Good to see y'all, man. For me, it's not so much what part of the day is who in the day I focus on, and I focus on the customer and the solution because I work in the customer service environment, in terms of IT support. I'm sure Prototype you can relate, man. And like people come and they're stressed out about certain things. They got deadlines to meet. And my God, and while I fix their computer problems, I also do something that like kind of inspire the day. And that kind of motivates me, when I'm able to lift off a burden from somebody. So yeah, I focus on the customer solution.
That's what's up. Appreciate you as usual. And then we got some newbies in the building. So I found them, and I always look for individuals that have really solid perspectives on topics in general. And so the first one we welcome to the stage is Ebony Ford in the building.
Hey, in the I love it.
What you got on the question?
It's so good to see all y'all. I appreciate being here. So my focus of the day is on the end of the day when I can get out of there, because I'm a traditional woman. I'm not supposed to be working outside the house anyway. Okay. So I'm ready to get off and go home. So end of the day for me.
Today, that's what's up.
Oh, shoot.
What time would that be? End of the day for you?
Technically 4:30, but I try to make it a little bit earlier than that.
Oh, that's for sure. Appreciate you being here. Hey, and then we have another young lady in the building, new to the show, Miss Naraya. How you doing, ma'am?
Hi.
Glad you can make it. What you got on the question?
I'm with Ebony. The end of the day. That's it. I have nothing deep to say. I'm ready to go.
That's it.
That's what I focus on.
That's
So I can get home and do my own thing. I'm working for somebody else. I want to get home, focus on creating my content and doing what I want to do. So the end of the day for me.
That's a bet. Appreciate you being here. And then last but not least, welcome to the stage, Mr. Jamil. What's going on with you, bro?
What's going on, brother?
I'm good, bro. What you got on the question?
All right, so I guess for me it will be the beginning. I work in mental health, so coming in, getting my report, understanding what happened to shift before me. I work night shift, so figuring out what happened during the day and what I need to do to make it smooth.
That's what's up. And I would say for me, I focused on the beginning of the day, because that's when I typically write down my agenda, so I can make sure that I'm one of those guys that goal oriented, so to speak, but I have the little check marks and things that I need to get done. And then I also have to make sure that because it's at the beginning, I want to make sure I have time for the kids and the wifey as well. So I have to write that down. So for me, it's at the beginning. But I definitely look forward to the end of the day. I'm in education. I deal with teachers and students. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be ready to get out of there for sure. Okay. All right. So it's going to be a good show. So we're going to start it like this. All right. I changed my question. Sometimes I do that. We're going to keep it simple, right? When I put this on Facebook, I'm going to ask the question like this. What is a good man? That's what we're going to talk. What is a good man? Because that's the question that was laid out to me when I said women don't like good men. The first question that was asked, what is a good man? And I asked them backstage, I said, it's not a consensus. And they consensusly said no. So here we go. What is a good man? And we're going to start with the man of men, or the man of men, Mr. Prototype.
Man, it's kind of like reflecting on the clip I already said, right? Good man is a man with discipline, integrity, and a man who's there to support his community. Those three things alone, man, makes that man a good man in my book. So
that's why I went with you first, because I know we kind of started it last week a little bit.
Yeah, that's it. That's you got those qualities, you're a good man to me. So
Who you got going
we'll
there?
go with Miss Naraya. Is that how you say that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We'll go with her. She look like she got some smoke.
Well, a good man to me is God-fearing, honorable, a leader, a provider in the sense that he doesn't have to pay all my bills. We can do 50-50 and I have no problem doing that. But a man that is not afraid to work hard and to do whatever he needs to do to make sure that his family is okay. But the top of my list is he has to love God and understand that.
Can I ask which God, or is it any God?
Is the Most High God. It's only one God.
That a lot of people say there's one God, but
Well,
they all ain't the same religion.
Well, I don't have a religion. I'm an Israelite, right? That's just who I am. My bloodline. So I believe in the God that is spoken of in the scriptures that they call the Holy Bible.
That's a bet. Who you got going next?
My sis Ebony.
Whew, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. A good man. Somebody that is very grounded, right? He's mature enough to have seen enough of the world to know that he's not missing out on anything by being with one woman and taking care of one family. He's done playing the field. He has a high level of integrity and, again, commitment to his family. The 50-50 thing, I'm not so much into that, but that's because I am being a little bit older. I just looking for something a little bit different. But generally speaking, just the things that I named beforehand, a high level of integrity, commitment to his family, exposed enough to the world to know that he's seen it all and he doesn't need to see any more, and he's okay with one woman and one family.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So you say that you're a little older, so you're not in with the 50-50. Now I'm 50 years old, right?
Ooh,
so
girl, you look good.
Wow.
I'm okay with the 50-50. So
Yeah.
Are you older than that? And you
No,
feel
I'm not.
like, so why are you not okay with it?
I'm only 46 relative to your age. You look awesome too, but you know, black woman, black girl magic. Yeah. Expect nothing less. I'm over the hill of like the girls going up, right? They're in their 30s and approaching 40s, and they have this agenda. They want to get married, they want to have kids. And so they're looking for that relationship and that love and that romantic relationship. When I'm kind of over the hump, I've been married and divorced, and I'm a single mother. I have an 8-year-old. And I'm just kind of on that downhill, right? I'm just like, I date for pleasure and I date for pleasure and fun, and that's it, to be completely honest. And so, an investment. I like a man to invest in me in a certain way, and I'll invest in him as well. But the 50-50 just, I don't know. I'm just on a different plane at this point, at this age. I'm just not the 50-50.
Yeah, because I just wonder when women say that, because I've been married many years, right? So I have no problem with going half, because if you go half, that leaves room for you all to grow together, to build things together. If he's giving you all of everything, what is he putting away to really to contribute? Like, your money is your money and his money is your money. Like, that doesn't seem like off balance to you.
You know what's crazy is that we can only look at things from our own perspective, right? And so my personal perspective was, you know, I got married, and I can stand up to that. I can own up to that. I chose the wrong man. So for me, marriage in its traditional sense, where, you know, we're both working and taking care of each other, doesn't look all that attractive to me. And that's my perspective, because I mean, I must admit, I chose the wrong person. So marriage just doesn't look all that good to me. And so for
that off of just one situation,
I must admit, yeah, that's all I have to go by. And it's like, it's just not, I'm just not looking for that traditional marriage setup. I have to be honest. Like, I'm just saying, I've done a lot of videos on my Instagram, and I'm kind of saying it right now. Transactional relationships, honestly, are probably best for somebody like me. But I wish it wasn't like that. I wish somebody could change my perspective, but I'm a little bit jaded at this point, and I gotta be honest.
Here, we'll see what we can do. Yeah. Appreciate you, Naraya, for asking that question. Miss
Yes.
Ebony, it's on you. Who you got going next?
Jamil.
Okay. What is a good man? It's integrity for me. My grandfathers set the tone. Hardworking, God-fearing, just honoring what doing what you said you were going to do, whether it's the vows or relationship or whatever you said you're going to do that. So
that's a bet. Who you got going next?
Let's get Prototype in here.
Already went, but we'll go. Give me a second.
So I think it's a guy. Thank you, Prototype. And right, that's a dope question. That's a whole nother conversation for another day too, because we can really peel back the onion on that. It might even serve into what we're talking about tonight to a certain degree. But what's a good man? I think it's a guy that's ready. And when I say ready, I mean in the fact of a guy that's lost enough to realize what he has in front of him, ain't worth losing. Like I think a guy that ain't lost enough, they don't know what the bottom feel like. And I'm not saying that the bottom is a space that everybody has to live through, but like when I think the bottom creates a man that finds value in the broken pieces, you know what I'm saying? And I think those broken pieces are important, because we can always talk about the Bible and talk in terms of like, being the clay, and then there's a potter that puts all that together again, right? But like it takes being broken, it takes being rebuilt, because it shapes a level of humility, it shapes a level of appreciation, but then it also shapes a level of value. And if you don't have value for self, you can't have value for the person that you're with. I tell people on my podcast all the time, the little bit I have means so much, but you had to lose some things to get there. And if you didn't lose nothing, there was one time I was dealing with a lady and she said, "You ain't scared to lose me." And I said, "You're right," but I said that in a space where I hadn't lost enough, And so when you don't lose enough, you don't have enough with an experience to appreciate your win. And so, you got to be ready to appreciate the win. I'm talking about the wins by 2 points, the wins by 10 points, or the wins by 30 points. You got to be able to appreciate the blowouts, just like you appreciate the 2-point wins. And so you got to be ready, man. You got to be ready to take on, like, if you, especially dating older, like y'all talked about, lady might have kids, lady might have been through some stuff. Lady might have bad credit. Lady might have daddy issues. Lady might have been raped. You know what I'm saying? Child molestation. There's a lot of things you got to be ready for. It's a long answer. I'm gonna get off of it, but yeah, you got to have a nigga that's ready if you want to be, if you want to be considered a good man. You got to be ready for a lot of things.
I like that.
And who, man, my man, I think Lost in Translation. You next, Lost in Translation.
Listen, if he's winning it.
Yeah, you got to know if he's ready. Go ahead, Lost.
I'm going to recognize Dwayne first before I go. Dwayne, welcome to the show, brother.
My bad. Yeah. Listen, bro, you are consistent. Even when we start early, you late. Like, bro.
You know what? That leaf, that tree that I talked about turning a new leaf, that died. So,
man,
that new time slot didn't even help me none, boy. I tell you. So I appreciate y'all calling me out, because that's that accountability. So
we appreciate you, brother. We're always glad to see you, though, man.
Hey,
always
nice to see y'all,
appreciate you, brother. Listen, humble dad. I got a saying: manners maketh man. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is that irrespective of who I'm around, I'm a good man. But the problem is a lot of people get a good man confused with a nice guy. A nice guy is a doormat. You know what I mean? He looks to seek to please. You see what I'm saying? A good man is somebody who stands on whatever it is he needs to stand on, irrespective of whether he provides something to somebody or not. You know what I mean? If you ever listen to the questions and how people formulate when they answered it, it was always in respect of what that man can do for them. You understand what I'm saying? A good man pays bills. A good man does what I say. A good man is done cheating. Let me tell you something about a good man. A good man is not a nice guy. You know what I mean? People confused and they thought Jesus was a nice guy. But no, Jesus was a good man. Jesus flipped over tables. You know what I'm saying? In the synagogue, when he saw things were wrong, he's not necessarily going to always do what you feel like he should do. He's going to stand on what he's going to stand on. And the problem is that a lot of people don't respect wisdom, and people don't understand who they're in the presence of, because they haven't recognized that the person that they really need is someone who understands who they are instead of what they can provide. And I'm gonna go with Dwayne this time, since he's last.
See, I came late for a reason. I came late for a reason. Boy, I appreciate you, Lost in Translation, because that's exactly correct. I agree with exactly and everything that you said right then and there. So that good man is someone who desires, in my words is someone who desires to seek the heart of Christ. Right. So in that, it's like, yeah, he wasn't a doormat. Like what he was, and also he wasn't a beta male either. So in that, like these categorizations where it's like, you think he's weak. No, it's through strength. It's through his strength and where he was able to be successful. So in that, a good man has deep rooted integrity, character, and a desire to do well. And to do well it means that also most by him. And if it is true, which I believe it is, there's a hierarchy to it. So first man serves God. So a good man is one who is in tune with God and what his purpose is for him in his life. And then he goes out there, and despite whatever may come in his way, whatever hurdles or stumbling blocks, he's able to overcome it, because that's his purpose. So a good man has integrity, character, and lives within the purpose in which God has set out for him, besides and despite of what the world says he should conform to.
That's what's up. Anybody have something to add, take away, or respond to anything that's been said so far?
I do, man. Like, so the God-fearing thing, right? I see a lot of women saying, I want a God-fearing man, and that always throws me off, because I see a lot of women following men who follow any spiritual entity, and that's just like you on the wrong path. They should be specific in what God-fearing truly means. And as well as Ebony, man, she went off the rails, but I know you're gonna be single long. You ain't never gonna find you a good man with that kind of criteria. You talk about a well-traveled man. That's the criteria for a good man.
I didn't say well-traveled.
You did say well-traveled. You said
I said well exposed. I think I meant to.
You said travel. I mean, we could run the tape.
Travel. Oh God, no, I didn't mean traveled. I'm so sorry. I meant well exposed. He's seen enough to know he has a good perspective, so he knows that he can.
So you basically saying a younger man can't be a good man. You want a nice old man. Look, man, there's good men in their 20s. There's good men.
But a younger man wouldn't want me either, though, at my age. So, I mean, whatever.
I mean, you ain't looking for nothing but pleasure anyway. They'll have fun with you.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. You can ride the whole age gambit. You ain't looking for nothing serious. You did it already. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I did not mean to say well-traveled. I apologize. I mean,
you said done playing the field. What you want somebody done playing the field for when you're not even done playing the field?
I am done playing it.
You said you want pleasure.
I date for pleasure and fun. So what I'm saying, okay, so there's girls in their 30s, or girls who've never been married, who don't have kids. They have an agenda. Their biological clock is ticking, and they have an agenda. So all I'm saying is I don't have an agenda for my dating. My dating is just for, we're pleasured, we're having fun, and that's it. So I'm not saying that I don't want nobody who can't just, I still want it could be a situationship, but I still want just a situationship with just you, though. Like, I don't want us playing the field, but we ain't got to get married. But there's a lot between him playing the field.
How you want a situationship when you want a man to invest in you? A man going to invest in you, trying to. Okay, so, that's not no situationship. There's no investment.
Again, like we can only view the world from our own perspectives. I've had that, so that's why. I'm biased.
Is it really an investment, or was he just had some trick money?
It could be that. It's a thin line. You got.
That's not an investment. That's trick money.
But it depends on how I spend the money that I'm given. It was an investment to me because I'm smart.
All right.
Damn.
Answer for all of your words, bro. Hey, let me get Robert in here, bro. He had a statement he wanted to make.
I don't have a long comment. Prototype number one. I'm glad I'm not on the other end of that. The next thing is, when you're dating for pleasure, like you said, it's hard to find a good man in those spaces. But I want you to understand that when you're dating for pleasure, we as men, we just realize it's just our turn. I'm just the guy that's taking care of you right now. I'm the guy that's taking you out right now. And I find no value in what that looks like, because I know the last guy did everything I just did. But more importantly, I know that what you're doing to me, whether it be intimately from a conversation perspective, you do the same thing to every guy. It's just my turn. And so it's hard for the value to be laid. And so, you know, at this age, you're talking about 50, Nariah, you know what I'm saying? When you're talking about going 50-50 and building a legacy, I love what you said. You talked about being a space where I'm providing you the room to grow too. It's not fair for just me to grow. I want you to grow too. And a lot of times we get lost as men in the fact of being providers, where like we have to make a substantial amount of money just to be able to provide and grow independently. And so when men realize that, and then we realize you're dating just for a good time, I'll take you out for a good time. But then the conversation changes when you find out that just like what we did was transactional, what we're doing at night is transactional too. And now we're having a whole nother conversation. And now you've added to the vernacular or the pool or the pie of guys. He's good for nothing, or he's not traveled, or he's not exposed. No, he treated you to the realm of what you were willing to receive. And that was just a good time for a particular Friday night. And the truth of the matter is, whatever he gave you, he's giving it to somebody else on Saturday. And he's getting his coins ready. He's working all week to get it ready to do the following week. You know what I'm saying? So I think when we talk about being, you know, men wanting good women or women wanting good men, it's about, I think Dwayne talks about this all the time. It's about really having like standards. It's about really just having standards, man. It's about saying, you know what, I'm not willing to accept you treating me like something to do, because I don't treat myself like something to do. I don't treat my resources like something to do. I don't treat my hobbies as, I don't treat my dreams as something to do. Like I literally, like I'm everything that business stands on. You know what I'm saying? You're going to take me serious. You're going to take my conversation serious. You're going to take my time serious. And if you're not willing to do that, I don't really care if you're a good dude or not. I'm not even going to add you to the fact pool. I'm going to just move on to a space where I can give my opinion or give my time or my investment into something that's willing to take me just as serious back. That's all.
Hey, shout out to you for bringing up that something to do, like treating me like I'm just something to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it a while ago. Feed me, entertain them, right? Feed them, entertain them. That's all they're looking for real. But it hurts to understand, like we're in the situations where we're like trying to really get to know somebody, and they're treating you just like, oh, I was bored, so I'm just here to entertain you. So in that transition, you got to understand, like, this is all they want. Oh, this is all they want. Well, I'm playing the game like this thing, opposed to trying to give my heart, soul, my genuine conversation, my honesty, my integrity. Because at that point, it's a game, right? Are you entertained? Did you eat? You ate your wings? You got a couple giggles? Give me what I want. We done. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. It's a hard truth for me.
For Ebony, though, because it's what you said is stuck in my head. So, do you have a daughter?
No, a son.
A son. Okay. What are you going to teach your son about marriage and with your views being that way? Because you're so jaded from before, what are you going to teach him about that?
Good point. Good question. Miss Nariah, right? Nariah, I don't want to say you're wrong. Yes. So my son, he's 8. This child came to me about 6 months ago. He said, Mommy, I want 10 girlfriends. I said, you want 10 girlfriends? I said, as long as you can take care of and provide for all 10 of them women, you can have as many as you want. Like, I am raising my son to be the kind of man. Oh, sorry. With prototype.
I was supposed to be muted. I was definitely on mute, but I was screaming over here as soon as she said that. And she was like, you got a son, right? I was like, he's going to be a playboy.
No,
period.
I don't play that. Not if it comes from me. Like, if he want to go out in the streets, you know, he from Atlanta, baby. He from in town Atlanta. We damn near downtown, right? So it's a different type of life in Atlanta. It really, really is. But that's a whole different conversation. But I'm raising him to be the kind of man that's going to grow up, take care of a woman, take care of a family. If you want 10 girls, you better treat them all like they're your wives and you take care of them. I don't play that. But that is a very good question. Like, this is just me, like, choosing the wrong person and like and being older now, a little bit older now, and I'm like, you know what, dating just looks different. Like, I did a reel a couple of days ago, like, dating when you trying to date a woman that's 45 years old plus, you can't use the same tools and the same game that you used before, because we just don't have the same agenda. But that doesn't mean that I don't see the value in relationships and marriage. My parents are still married. My sister is engaged. My brothers are all married. I'm the only black sheep of the family that's a single mother. Probably no guessing as to why after this conversation, but this is not this is not something that's championed in my family and in my life. So I still honor the sanctity of marriage. And I want my son to be successful, not only in life, but in marriage. Because to be honest, they go hand in hand. But good question.
Good question. Hey,
Yeah, for sure.
it's a very good response as well to some degree. I think it's going to be challenging for. Can y'all hear me?
Oh yes.
Yeah, Lost in Translation shaking his head. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, he
Humble that knows I'm being good right now.
yeah.
Yeah, you are, because I've seen the videos.
That's what's up. So okay, so if he wants 10, he needs to treat them all like they're his wife. Did I hear that right?
Yep, that's what she said.
That's what I said. If he
So-
want to try to go down that path,
Okay, cool. So, what if he does the Nick Cannon route? You be cool with that as well?
if he's taking care of them and the women are signing up for it, I mean, it ain't got nothing to do with me.
Got you. Are you aware of the statistics on single motherhood?
Yes, not the statistics, no, but I don't think they're not good. They're
Right. So,
Yeah.
so if he becomes similar to Nick Cannon, although there is money involved, it doesn't.
they're making themselves a single mother though. Nice, he can't do it by himself.
Agreed. So, but like I have 2 sons, right? So I'm not going to teach them to be a playboy because I know that that's going to be detrimental to how it is that they see marriage,
Oh,
right? So, right. So, and then I would not advise my daughters to entertain a guy that is a playboy because that gives her a different connotation of what type of woman she is, similar to what you just said
Yep.
about the men for Nick Cannon. They allow themselves to become a single mother. What type of mindset would a woman have to say, I'm willing to raise a kid by myself as long as that guy is paying me, right? That's a short-sighted view of a larger problem that we have in the world that we live in. So I'm gonna let that rest right there as we transition to in Lost in Translation. You can start with this one, right? Why do women prefer what they want, not need? Why do women prefer what they want, not need? And I had that question before Ebony had a conversation. So just to let you know, it just rolled into what we're talking about.
Here's the thing. I'm going to steal a line from Ultron, from the Age of Ultron. He said that we create the monsters that we fear. You know what I'm saying? What happens is in certain situations, we may think we want a certain thing, but if you have never been exposed to what you want, then that's going to be a problem. It's pretty much, if it's like trying to get to Atlanta, from Hawaii, by car. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you ain't never did that before, which is impossible, you're gonna set yourself up for failure. Your expectations and your experiences dictate what you really want. Now, here's the thing. 9 times out of 10, we choose mates for what they can do for us instead of what we can do for them. And I think sometimes our own selfishness betrays us when selecting a mate. It's one of those situations where we want what we want, but we don't know what went into the making of what we want. Because if you understood what went into the making of what you would want, you would respect it a little bit better. You would understand exactly what you're getting yourself into. A lot of people like to say they want a provider. Well, a provider is a person that's disciplined. They say they want somebody to protect them. Well, a protector is controlling, but the very thing that you said that you wanted, you don't want. You don't want somebody to protect you or tell you what to do because you don't want to be controlled. And I think Minister Farrakhan said that a man can't protect what he can't control. You see what I'm saying? You want all these things, but you don't want to be subject to the things that it takes to get to those things. So I have to ask yourself, sometimes you have to ask yourself the question, is this really what I want? Am I really willing to submit or subject myself to a wisdom greater than myself? That is obedience. And I've said this 1,000 times. You know what I mean? Obedience is better than sacrifice. And I'm going to go with Robin on this one next.
Man, a woman that subscribes to her wants versus her needs is a woman that don't really got boundaries. It's a woman that ain't got really limits. It's a woman that's okay to subscribing to things that only serve her flesh and not her future. And so I believe that, but I also believe that a woman that subscribes to her wants versus her needs is a woman that's been hurt. And we got to figure out, like, where did that come from? You know, I believe just like men are born with a certain vernacular or nature to be a certain thing called man, I believe women are born with certain things and qualities to be woman. But somewhere along the lines, that got confused somewhere. Somewhere along the lines, they got hurt somewhere. Somewhere along the lines, they got taken advantage. Somewhere along the lines, they got a bad example of what that's supposed to look like. And so now they subscribe to the things that don't force them to deal with where they were hurt at. You see what I'm saying? They subscribe to the things that force them to live in what feels good versus what is good. And so I also think that a woman that subscribes to her wants versus her needs don't really love herself. She don't really like herself. And truth of the matter, she can't be by herself, which is why she's always in the bed of a man, or always at the dinner table with a man. I'm just gonna call it what it is. She ain't really learned herself. And the part of herself that she's learned, she really don't like. It don't smell good. It don't look good. You know what I'm saying? And so they know being around good men or being around men that's going to take you where you need to be versus where you want to be is going to expose truths that they don't really want to talk about yet. And so I think they grow out of it. I think that there's more after it. And I think it takes a special man, like I talked about earlier, that's ready, that's lost enough, that's willing to take the time and the patience to break down those walls and those barriers, you know, to kind of get past what that looks like. And I want to say one last thing, that a man that's not willing to break down those walls, that don't mean he's not a good man. That just means, again, he's lost enough to where he's willing to move on to someone equally who's ready to be pushed to where they need to be, not where they want to be. Naraya, your turn.
I don't think as women, we even know what we need. Our needs changed based on, I think, what we see. I think that social media has a big influence where women are now looking at this soft life and think that everything is supposed to be handed to us. Our wants vary. It varies on how I feel that day. You know, I mean, if I see that my girlfriend has something, then I may want that. If her man takes her on trips, I may want that. So we really don't know what we want. I don't think we had a lot of examples from our moms and grandmothers of like, what does it look like? What does a relationship look like? What does a healthy marriage look like? What does healthy interaction between a man and a woman looks like? And no shade to Ebony, that's part of it. Some of the things that she said of, you know, what I'm going to tell my son, he can have 10 women, but treat them like your wife. How does he treat somebody like his wife if he doesn't know, you know, what being a wife looks like or how you're supposed to treat a wife? So I basically believe that we just don't know what we want at all. That's why it changes so much.
Man, that's tough. Who you got going next? Wait, before you go, did somebody had they want to ask Miss Naraya a question? Okay, so yeah, it felt like somebody may have had something to say, but I could be wrong.
No, I'm gonna go with sis again.
Hey, sis. So, like, kind of what you said, Naraya, I don't really know, and that could be part of the problem, what my needs are versus what my wants are. I thought that I was going for, you know, what I needed in a relationship, but again, just not really sure what that looks like. But something, I don't know who said that. Maybe it was, I'm not exactly sure, but like somebody said that a woman who doesn't know her needs from her wants maybe doesn't like herself, or who was that?
That was Robert said that.
That was Robert, yes. And like I people ask, like, why am I single? Could be a myriad of reasons, right? Obviously. But I think one of them is that I'm so emotionally grounded that I just don't need a lot from the outside world. And it's like, and I think I've set my parameters up of what my needs and wants are based off of that, because I just don't need a lot emotionally. And that emotional strength is my detriment. It's my advantage, but it's my detriment. Because I'm like, it's hard for a man to come in because I'm like, I just feel like I don't need much, you know? So speaking to needs, I just don't have a lot of needs. I really don't. So that kind of makes you defer to your wants. And my wants are, I want to be invested into, you know, because I don't have a lot of needs. So either I don't know what my needs are, or I'm so emotionally grounded, at least I feel like I am, that I don't have a lot of needs. And so then it goes to the wants. And I don't know if that's good or bad. But
Okay, so are you saying that women prefer what they want because all their needs are satisfied?
possibly.
Mhm.
I've
That's
always
what
been
I'm asking her. What she's saying. I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear in the statement. 'Cause I don't want us to be just jumping on Ebony, right? I want to be able to make sure that I'm clear in what she's saying.
and
Right?
oh my Lord, if anybody has seen my comment section on my Instagram,
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, well,
baby, they
girl, I just like to control what goes on. You know what I'm saying?
in your space. Absolutely, yes.
That's all
They've
it
called
is.
me everything but a child of God.
Okay.
In my case, possibly, you know, even when I was younger, for me, like I say, like right now after my divorce, I chose the wrong man. But when I was 15, I told my mother, I was like, I don't think I want to get married, Ma. I don't get it. I don't really get the value of it. So then for me, marriage was not so much a bad choice. And I'm not backing up from that. I did say that I chose the wrong man. It was more so a confirmation of what I felt when I was a teenager. I just didn't really see marriage being this that women see, like this holy grail type of thing. And so yeah, for me, I do just think emotionally I'm a loner. I've always been self-fulfilled, and that does not lend itself to a traditional relationship. It just does not. I'm a weirdo.
No worries. It's a good dialogue for sure, and to hear a different perspective. What you got going there?
Lost in translation.
Did you already
First.
first?
He's shaking his head.
But I will rebuttal.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, you already went. My bad.
So I'll take a scenic route. Let me get Jamil. You know what I'm saying? I like to hear the new voices. We'll come
Okay.
to you, BB, right? And then Robert has a question. So we're gonna go Jamil, and then Robert has a question.
I think needs require more. It's so much easier to go after what you want. Needs require some work, some accountability, you know, some hard truths, some hard conversations. Needs or wants are pretty simple, pretty surface. It doesn't really require much to get, you know, what you want. And I think it's, you know, it goes both ways as far as what you're willing to give, what you're willing to receive and work for. As far as the wants, you know, that's easy. So you know, like I said, it doesn't require much to get what you need. As far as the big picture, a lot of people aren't even looking, you know, down the line. You know, it's just what's right here. You know, what's in front of me. What can I get? That's the wants. The needs is going to take a little more work and a little more intel as far as, you know, what you have to work for.
So you saying that women? You saying women lazy?
Yeah. I mean, so like as far as that, I mean, because, you know, as far as men as well, not just women.
No. But see, we don't do that over here. We will talk about men. Just
we will. Yeah.
So I just want people to know that we talk about the men. It's just this particular segment is women, because what people will do is that they'll fall back on both to make themselves more comfortable, right? But we're just centering in on your statement, which was that a want is easy and a need requires work, is what you said, right?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that in this question that women are lazy.
In this question, yes.
They are.
Oh man, okay, Naraya.
That's what I built my whole platform on, talking about women and accountability and having to do better. That's what I do. That's what I talk about. That's why I don't want Ebony to feel like I'm picking on her, but I never really get an opportunity to talk to a woman such as herself that's open about her position. So if you see me gearing questions towards her, is because I'm just trying to take this opportunity to understand.
So I think Ebony, like her content, you can see that she's okay with the statement. So, but
women don't seem to Naraya's point to take a lot of accountability. I feel like women have so much power in dating, and we're not using it. We play the victim all the time. Black women are so successful everywhere else. We starting businesses, buying houses, we making more money, but relationship wise, we ain't really winning out there like that. And I feel like it's because we're not using that power, we're not harnessing that power, and we're not taking accountability. So
you know why, Ebony? Because a lot of women want it to be transactional. So that poses a problem.
You're right. But see, I am willing to, like, I know my transactional view on dating. I know it's going to limit me, especially at my age. You know, I do know that, but I'm willing to live with that. I'm willing to live with it. But I think if women are looking for something else, they can't operate like somebody who's at my age and at my stage in life. They got to have more accountability. They got to come through, and they're not coming through. If you want to set these standards for transactional and this is what you want, be willing to be by yourself for the rest of your life. Understand that you may never get what you want. And if you're a woman and you can live with that, which I can, that's my standards.
Yeah, but that whole city girl life that's the narrative that's being pushed to our young girls too.
True.
So a lot of them have that mindset, now, and it's how do we fix it? And I just think that of women of a certain age, it's our responsibility to school them, even if that's not your thing and you don't want that kind of relationship. It's still your obligation to give them the jewels, to say, this is what I did. This is how I made a mistake. This is how I chose the wrong guy. Like, you still have something to give them to make this, to make them better.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Yeah. That gives me a lot of pause and it gives me a lot of thought. Yeah. Because a lot of my content is like, I'm from a 46-year-old woman. It's how I operate, but you never know how somebody half my age could be taking that and she could be applying that to her life. And
we are an example.
Yeah, no, you're right.
That's phenomenal. That's what's up. I like that. That's for each of you to be able to communicate your position and do it professionally. That's the part that I enjoy. Hey, what you got, Robert? You've been over there. I would say sitting still, but that ain't what you've been doing. So what you got?
I had a question. I guess it really ain't relevant at this point. I'll just say divine relationships don't fall in the air. And people, they're discerned and they're not decided. That said, I think people need relationship, period. Men need women, women need men. And that's just the way it was designed. And so my question is, let me back up. I'll say it this way. Even recently, in the last couple of months, I was hurt in my relationship that I'm currently in, that I'm currently working through. We're doing the steps to figure those things out. And I said something of something similar to the fact of, I really don't have any needs. Just do whatever. And so I said that in response to my trauma. I said that in response to my triggers. I said that in response to my pain. And so my question is, Naraya, for women who have, because I don't even want to direct it at Ebony at this point, for women who have seen that part of it, at what point, let me back up. Is there a point where women start answering questions or subscribing to things in life because at the end of the day, it's just a direct response to their triggers, a direct response to their pain? What something happens that puts you in a space that says, I don't need what I need to sleep. I don't need what I need to breathe. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm asking you, Naraya?
So you're asking if my response as a woman sometimes, is it because of the things that happen to me in my life and I'm responding that way?
Yeah.
Absolutely, that happens. But you have to be conscious enough to understand that I have these triggers because I have been through a lot of things in my life. I'm a survivor of molestation when I was younger. I'm a survivor of rape. I'm a survivor of a whole lot of things. But I try to not bring that into my marriage. And when my husband sees these things, or I'm going that way because he sees me and he understands me, I respect him enough to listen when he's like, you need to take a step back. This is what you're doing. Let's don't go there. Take a minute. Let's don't have this conversation. So I've learned throughout the years in my marriage how to not respond because I'm triggered. And I do the work, and I've went to counseling, and I tried, and I'm continuously working on myself. So I think that as women, if we just, in our community, therapy and stuff is not really promoted. You're supposed to just pray about it, forget about it, and that's it, right? We need help, right? We need to be able to learn how to maneuver through these feelings and emotions that we have. And that is something that I've done, and I continue to do. So to your point, yes, I can get triggered off of certain things, as a lot of women can, but I think that we need to understand that we have a problem, and because we put a Band-Aid on something, we're not fixed, that it's a continuous work in progress. Seriously, people say I'm a work in progress, but they really don't do any work. We really have to be a work in progress. And that's my thought on that.
And so that the only reason why I asked that question, I'm done here, Humble Dad, is because I just believe without relationship, there's certain things that can't be unlocked. I understand the necessity to get it and grind, and there's methods and there's times where we were supposed to build and climb and all those things. But there are certain things that just genuinely, I joke around a lot, but there's certain things that genuinely cannot be unlocked without relationship. I believe relationship obtains the key that unlocks whatever strategy, whatever level of purpose, whatever, you know what I mean? I can't even have favor. And let me say this way, because I believe men have favor. They were born with favor. Otherwise, you wouldn't have said when I was formed in my mother's womb. But I believe you limit my distractions. You limit the things that I look at, the things that would deter me from getting to where I need to be. The plan that I was already born with, right? You limit what stops me from getting there, because I have peace at home, because I have joy at home, because I have fulfillment at home, because I'm building with you, because I'm balancing my ideas off of you. So I just want to encourage either you, Ebony, or anybody who thinks like you. Listen, like, there's a possibility that once you get out of that phase, to subscribe back to being in union or in relationship in a positive way that's not induced responses to trauma, because somebody needs you to unlock strategy in their life. Somebody needs that. You are somebody's key. Whoever's listening and watching this YouTube right now, somebody that's subscribing to that thought process, you are somebody's key. And you're holding up not only your own blessing, but the blessing connected to union. And then if we want to just be joking about it, like, I want my sex to be blessed. So how can my sex be blessed if I'm doing it outside of union? You see what I'm saying? I know I'm having a good time. I know the date was cool. I know the chicken wings was good, and I got it with extra barbecue sauce. But lemon pepper. But
in Atlanta.
I'm being for real. My sex can't even be blessed. You know what I'm saying? It was a good nut, but it can't be blessed. You know what I'm saying? Because seriously, because I'm operating out of my response versus operating what's really gonna get me to purpose. I'm done.
Look, I want this to be real quick.
Say real quick. Are you prototype? Are you gonna be like quick?
No.
Robert? I know. Are you gonna be quick like Robert?
Y'all know I'm quick. Listen, everything he just said was beautiful. Was absolutely beautiful. But from a woman's perspective, she don't want to be nobody's key. She don't care about nothing you just said. It sounded terrific, but in her eyes, she don't want to uplift, do none of that. She's waiting at the finish line. You understand what I'm saying? Like, all that you just said was beautiful, and that's what we are looking for. This is the disconnect. This is what we're looking for. That kind of mold, that kind of bring us together. They don't care nothing about that.
I don't agree with that. That's not true.
Yeah, even I don't.
They not true. Listen. What y'all say?
Hey, let him finish, and then you can respond.
Lost taught me something he taught me a nice little word, cognitive dissonance. Right? What they say and what they do is two different things. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
So they can sit here and agree and say this, but what y'all are doing is being fed and entertained, and that's it. That's it. Y'all not doing the I'm the key, I'm this, I'm that. It sounds great. Y'all going to talk a game, But that's why most men are hurt, right? Because we thought you were into a God-fearing
men
man, and
hurt?
you over here with the D boy. We thought you was into this kind of man, and you over here doing this or that. We thought you were like, you know what I'm saying? We're lost because y'all are saying XYZ and doing something else. So
Naraya, on you. What you got?
I don't
My
agree.
bad.
I think
Prototype.
that-
Did I interrupt?
no, you're good. I'm done.
Go ahead, Naraya.
I don't agree. I think some women do that. But for women like myself, I can't agree with that statement. Now I do see that, and those are the women that I talk to. But overall, there are a lot of women who, like myself, I feed into my husband because I understand that in feeding into him, it makes me better. You know what I'm saying? If I supply him with what he needs to keep his head straight, then my house is straight. The energy in my home is okay. He's okay. He's the head of my house. So I have to make sure that he's good, and whatever he needs, I give him, and he does the same for me. You know, so I think that what you're saying is true, but there's also a side where there are women such as myself who does do the things that he said. That's why I'm in agreement with it. Now I know women who don't, you know, but I'm sitting here on this panel, right? So I don't agree with that because I know that I do those things. You know, I can call him in here right now and he'll tell you.
That's the dope thing about that, Naraya, is because I think what Prototype is saying, you're able to contradict his statement because you can literally tell us what you're doing. The situation is that when you ask a woman that is not married, what does it look like to be a wife? She can't tell you, she won't tell you what she's doing to the man to make him better. That's the part that Prototype is leaning towards. Or even some of the women that are married are more focused on what they're getting out of the marriage as opposed to what they're pouring into it. Right now, that's the part. So that's why I appreciate you being on, you know, as a married woman, because a lot of married women won't come on the show for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're busy, right? So we got a new time. So hopefully there won't be an excuse no more for them that I've asked, right? So I like that you said that, right? I think Ebony, did you want to respond to Prototype?
I
think Dwayne has something to say later. Go ahead. Ebony.
Yeah, sorry. I just love the perspective that Naraya is coming from as a married woman. And, you know, I was a married woman, not for long, probably about 3 years, but I know I believe that I know what a good married woman is, right? And what a woman provides in the space of a marriage. However, Naraya is talking from a perspective of how a married woman pours into her husband. And that is beautiful. But we cannot take those same actions and use them out here in dating because it's just not the same space. I can't be like what a married woman would be like in dating. It's just you would be taken advantage of, you know. But no, Naraya.
No, how so? To show that you're nurturing, to show that you care about what he's going through, to like how?
Not all the way. Like, no, I can't. I know that's how you get married, I guess. I've heard, but I
I was already a wife before I married them. You know what I mean? Because
they say that's not the right way to. They say that's not even the right way to do it. Are we supposed to be a wife before marriage? I don't know.
I need to show.
Yeah, that's what it says. He who finds a wife.
I'm lost. I always say
I'm
lost
in translation.
I always say that's my tagline. I'm confused. Let me know. Like seriously, I'm open for.
All right, let me do this, Naraya. Hey, let Dwayne weigh in on it, right?
Man, so let me share an experience I had. I tried to after high school. I really didn't care too much about school. I really didn't. But for some reason, my tail decided I wanted to sign up for college after high school. And then they said, well, we want to admit you, but you need to get your basics down. You can't go to the next level till you get your basics, right? So if I was college minded, my basics would be way behind me. If you're marriage minded, your basics are way behind you. Like you're no longer paying attention to those. You're worried about the next obstacle to that point. But then I had to dip out for a moment, so I missed a bit. But I wanted to go back to the question that was asked. And earlier, how does like the need and the want? And I was thinking, I was like, does God give us what we need, or I'm sorry, what we want, or what we need? How is God's way of delivering, right? Does he deliver in the way that we want, or does he deliver in the way that we need? Right. And then I contrast it based upon my answer. I was like, oh yeah, he's there. He's on time and he gives me what I need and I don't want it. But then I know that I benefit from it. Right. But then I look at what happens when you do get what you want, or when God allows you to get what you want. What is the result? I'm looking at the result from both pieces. How does it look like whenever God gives you what he knows that you need? If he is the physician and he's prescribing you something and you're like, but I don't want to take that. You don't have to, but you go ahead and go, you're going to go ahead and die. Right. And I'm gonna put it to it from that standpoint. I see a lot of people out here much more preferring what they want than what they need. So from a marriage standpoint, I think from a guy's standpoint, they need that stability that a woman has to offer. A woman needs that order and that structure in which a man has to offer, right? And when we start to operate outside of those boundaries and those needs, once we start going outside, that's when we enter and we looking all silly and stuff, right? Because as mad as you may get at life and the people and the situations, the trauma, all this, at the end of the day, God will allow you to harden your heart. Right. And then the question is, what is your benefit? What is your regard? So, Ebony, I'm not picking on you. And as a matter of fact, I want to put some respect on your name in the sense of, I see you over there and you got your pen and your paper and you're taking notes. I respect that. So if I could say something to that, whenever we get to the point where we harden our hearts, because of and we may feel justified. We're justified in our hearts being hardened. But once we do that, we no longer allow God to work. And to what Robert was saying, I look at it from this standpoint too. It's not just y'all as women, it's men too, because it says men are supposed to operate a certain way. And if we don't, guess what? Our prayers will be hindered.
First Peter.
That means everything you want, right? The whole kitchen, everything you want. You are going to mess it up based upon how you approach it. So why is it that y'all as women are now going to be not able to receive the same thing? I'm from a simple standpoint. Let me slide back. My bad.
I don't think that was simple. That was pretty phenomenal. Lost in translation on you.
You know what, Humble? I'm so glad that you gave me an opportunity to follow Robert. But Dwayne, here's the situation. And I wrote this notes down, and while Nariah was saying it, I knew it was confirmation. I wanted to make sure I get this out to women because I don't want them to think that we dump on them. I want to come from a teaching point, okay? To at least help them. That's the main reason why I want to come to these podcasts, to make sure that I at least give a nugget of something that they can use and take back that they can use. I wrote this down, and when I said it, Nariah was in the process. That's how I knew it was confirmation. Wants are Band-Aids to cover our emotional scars. Okay? Let me rewind that again. Wants are Band-Aids to cover our emotional scars. What we do, Humble Dad, is we're oftentimes unaware of our condition. You see what I'm saying? And what we normally do is we like to take things to cover those scars to keep us from leaking, you know? I'll give you an example. When I was little and my dad used to let us go outside and play or whatever, and I akin my dad to God. You see what I'm saying? And what happened was, we used to go outside and it was hot outside and we wanted to, get a little water. So he used to give the hose pipe to us. So I put the hose pipe up to my mouth and water was just going everywhere. He was like, no, son, let me show you how to do this. He said, put your hands together and let the water go in and you drink what you need. Because if you take it straight from the hose pipe, it's going to be more than what you need. So what I learned was that I had to make sure that I didn't have any holes in my fingers to make sure that that water didn't leak out and I can take out as much as I needed. The problem is that we're unaware of our conditions. Sometimes we think that we're cups when we're actually sieves. We have all these little tiny holes inside of us from bad relationships, bad experiences, things that we never really address because we're always looking from the inside out. But that's what your spouse is for. Your spouse looks at those things from the outside in. They can see the things that you refuse to see. They see the things that you don't see because your ego is not involved with their vision. You see what I'm saying? And vice versa. You can see things that's the holes in them and they can see things that are holes in you. The problem is when people try to pour into you, those little holes leak out. You know, you can't invest into a sieve, but you can invest into a cup. And the problem is a lot of times when God wants to pour into us, we're not stretched enough. You know, you ever get one of those garbage bags and you try to open it up or whatever, you try to put something in it. You can't put nothing in it unless you stretch it. And the problem is we don't like to be stretched. We don't like to be inconvenienced. You see what I'm saying? We like to be comforted. But see, the thing is you become more when you allow God to stretch you. You see what I'm saying? And the thing about it is that we don't like comfort. You know what I'm saying? We enjoy comfort. We don't like discomfort. But the discomfort comes from when God allows him to be able to pour more into you because you've been stretched. And 9 times out of 10, what happens is people think, well, God don't love me. He does. You're just not being obedient. He can't pour into you if you don't have your hands together. It'll just flow all over the floor and you'll have a mess. And then you're trying to clean up something you couldn't handle. So my thing is this: awareness of what you are and where your things are needs help. It may come from a therapist if you don't have a spouse. Sometimes it may come from your spouse. You know what I mean? But the thing is, you're not going to be able to hold what somebody can give you if you don't allow those holes to be fixed in you. You see what I'm saying? It'll always be somebody else's fault. When somebody goes to pour on you and you decide you want to run off with somebody else, that's because you didn't fix that hole. You know, every time you want to get something to make yourself looks good in front of all your friends and your little girlfriends, you're going to blow all your money because you're trying to fix a hole because you don't think you're enough. You see what I'm saying? So that's the main reason why awareness is so important. You have to ask yourself, are you a cup or are you a sieve?
That's what's up, bro. I'm surprised Prototype didn't drop his bomb.
He didn't have much to disagree with right there.
You did. That was phenomenal, homie, as usual. Hey, y'all have time for one more question?
Sure.
Yeah.
As y'all on the spot, you know what I'm saying? See what the audience be like. Yes, they do. All right. So as we're talking, I can't remember who it was, but it sparked a question that I didn't have written down. It was, here we go. What does a good man do for a woman? What does a good man do for a woman? And I want to start with Jamil.
I think, I mean, you know, not to be cliche, but it has to be biblical. Everything has to go back to, you know, what the Bible tells us, the instructions that are given to us. And Dwayne quoted one of my favorite scriptures, 1 Peter 3:7, is, you know, our prayers can actually be hindered, and we don't understand that by how we treat our women. You know, I've been married 6 months, so I'm going into, you know, really understanding. Thank you. Just what it takes to be a husband. My grandfather's been married for 79 years. It'll be 80 years in September. So I get a lot from him. He's 99 years old, and we talk, you know, just about every day. So really just understanding biblically, like what we're supposed to do. And, you know, we've gone so far away from where we are biblically, whether it's social media or, you know, what we see on TV or whatever, we've strayed away. So getting back to biblically, like what we're supposed to provide, everything's in there. So just understanding, who God has called us to be as husbands, as fathers, and going, on that path. So everything is, has been laid out for us. Nothing's new.
So I have a question real quick, Jamil. So in the time that you've been with your wife, what do you see that you've done for her?
Honestly, I think I've opened up, some things that she didn't even know, she needed to work on as far as, being a wife, because I'm real about what I need to work on. There's some, she's pretty guarded, in a lot of areas, getting her to bring that guard down, even from because it's different from a girlfriend to a fiance to a wife. There should be no guards as a wife. There should be no guards as a husband. So getting her to, understand, hey, you know what, we're in this. There's nothing that you can't tell me. There's nothing you can't ask me, so just getting her to understand that, just open up all the way. Like,
That's what's up. So you've gotten her to be more of herself. Can I That's what's up. Who you got going next?
Understand herself.
I'm sorry, say it again.
And to really just understand herself, like understand, why she does the things that she does, and why she's triggered by, this, the trauma that she didn't even know was there, and won't even, really go. I mean, because she had, great upbringing, no dad issues or anything like that, but there's still some trauma. There's still some things that she dealt with dating that, that it just wasn't right. So getting her to talk about that and let her know I'm not that dude. So
you're not that dude. You're that dude.
Yeah, I'm that. I'm him. So yeah.
So okay, appreciate that. Who you got going next?
Robert, let's go.
I'm gonna keep it short this time. Humble dad. I'm sorry,
bro.
Hey, don't let him bully you.
I've been bullied.
Don't let that peer pressure get to you.
It's getting to me. It's got to me bad.
The reason why I say something is because, like, first of all, lost in translation is long. Okay, right, and I understand that, and I let you go. But when you give me that church answer, I ain't gonna be before you long. I'm gonna let you know that you lied. That's all I'm saying.
I got 3 points in the close. I'm done. So what do I do for her, man? I just remain consistent. I remain the thermostat. There's moments where I'm high and she's low, or she's low and I'm high, whatever the vice versa is. I just remain consistent. When she's upset, I still do for her. When we're not getting along, I still love on her. When she's not her best, I let her know she's wonderful. You know what I mean? And I just try to bridge that gap. I know Prototype gonna be like, yeah, whatever. I promise you, because I've lost enough. I've learned from which I've suffered. And I just try to be everything to her that she's not to herself on a particular day. And to Ebony's point, that changes every single day. I'm done. Ebony, go ahead.
Yes. A good man, I feel, I don't like to concentrate on what one does for the other, but since we're saying what good men do for good women, I'll concentrate.
First of all, it's always, when I ask the question, since you're new here, it is your context.
Okay.
So however you want to explain it, it's on you.
Thank you so much. So I think a good man, I think he covers a woman, right? Like shields her. Like I've seen a diagram or a picture or a drawing, whatever it was, where, the woman was cradling the baby and then the man was over her, and then he was kind of like holding the earth on his back, right? Like the whole world on his back, and just kind of shielding to the best that he can. It's hard out here. So that's all I can think of, shielding and protecting. That's what I think a good man does. And I like the whole thing of a person who has lost enough to have perspective. To me, life is all about perspective. And I don't think you can really have that perspective until you have a lot of experiences. With every experience you have, with every year that goes by, with every, age that goes by, you just gain this perspective, and you're able to kind of zoom out and see things from a larger perspective. And the small things are truly small, and that's where they belong. And then you can deal with the big things. But that's kind of a sidebar, but I wanted to say that a few minutes ago. But yeah, I think a good man just really covers his wife and his family.
Can he show that during the process of dating?
Yes, he can show that he has the capacity and the capability to shield. Yes.
See, I don't need no notepad. Okay, so then how does he show that he can do that during the dating process?
By shielding the woman. Maybe not shielding the woman and the child, because maybe there won't be a child in the picture at the moment, but just kind of shielding her from certain things that she may have dealt with on her own as a single woman. And he comes in and kind of deals with it. It could be something as simple as, I'm a single woman. When something goes wrong with my car, my tires, and I got to go to the tire shop and they want to sell you 4 new tires on a car that has 10,000 miles that I just bought last year. And you're a woman and you like, oh my God, is this what I'm supposed to do? A man will come in there and be like, he will shield her from maybe being taken advantage of. And it could be something as simple as that. It doesn't have to be something huge, like he's paying all the bills in the house or anything like that. Just the simple things that he takes off of a woman's plate that a man is much more equipped to deal with.
So you feel like that's something you can do by yourself, you specifically?
I have been forced to for the last 7 years, and I think I've done pretty well. It's not something I want to do every day, but I will do.
A need that hasn't been fulfilled.
What'd you say?
That would be a need that has not been fulfilled.
Just a very simple example. Yeah, I'm talking about tires, but I mean.
So I'm sure that it could be unpacked to see that there's more needs that you have that you haven't uncovered to suggest that you can't go to your wants just yet.
Absolutely. And that's true. And like I said, I don't know the difference between wants and needs sometimes. Can I take care of my own tires? Could I buy 4 tires if I needed to, even if I didn't really need them, but somebody coerced me into it? Could I technically afford it? Yeah. But, I would like to be shielded. I don't want to have to deal with that type of stuff. I don't know if that's a need or a want, since I can technically handle it myself.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I think that based on what you said, it's a need because shields you from having to do something that you would desire something that the man to do, right? It is somewhat of a men thing to do, right? To
it is.
Go and talk on behalf of his wife when we know that people try to take advantage of women.
Like, yes, and I don't want to. Sorry.
Right. So I'm asking the question based on what you said previously, that a woman how can a woman show that she's a wife? But however, you're able to state how a man can show that he could be a husband.
I did.
Right. So it's important for the viewers to see that you should be able to know what it is that you're looking for, right? Which you were. You say you can see that, but you should also know what it is that the other one is looking for as well, right? Mm-hmm. Next.
Oh yes, Naraya. Did she go?
Okay. I'm going to say what my good man does for me, right? I can't speak for everybody else, right? So he provides a space where I don't feel judged, no matter what it is, with the way that I may feel like I don't look the same like I did when we were 21 and we were together now at 50, right? There's no judgment. He loves me as is. He lets me know that no matter what I tell him, my shortcomings or what I'm thinking, it's cool. He provides a safe space for me. He gives me correction when I need it, and I receive it because I understand that he's not the enemy and he loves me, right? He is supportive of me in any endeavors that I want to do. If I want to start a business, he's like, okay, give me a plan. Let's make it make sense. You want to do it? Let's do it. What else? And of course, protection, like Ebony said, like protection and shielding, covering us and our children, making sure, that we're all okay. Those are the attributes that I feel make a good man.
That's what's up. I appreciate that. So how long have you been married, Miss Naraya?
Oh my gosh, about 97. 1997.
So you've been married since 97, so 27
years? I met my husband when I was 15 years old.
That's what's up. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all for sure.
Yes.
That's good stuff. Thank you for sharing. Who you got going next, Miss Naraya?
Oh Oh, I can't. I don't got my. I told you I'm 50. I ain't got my glasses on.
We need an ID. First of all, you ain't 50. We need to like driving.
I did. I just turned 50 January 21st.
Hey, don't even worry about it. Your husband loves you.
Hey, and I can't. I'm blind as a bat. Is it Dwayne? Is that what?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
him. That's him right there.
Okay.
I appreciate that. From my perspective, a good man, what a good man does for a woman is allows her to allow herself to be shielded.
Mm.
Okay, y'all talked about shielding, right? And in it, like, I guess this Me Too movement and stuff made me a real gentleman. Bullshit. I'm just kidding. It's my bad. But seriously, like with the whole Me Too, it's like that consent, right? The whole thing about consent. So in it also, it's like consent, allowing her to allow me to shield her. And in that's what a good man does, is then he comes in and he's like, hey, you may not know that you need shielding, right? And I think that's the thing about it is, like, on your car, like most cars now have that blind spot monitor, right? As if your head wasn't enough to turn around and look behind you, right? Look behind you. It's simple. But they knew. As sophisticated as we think we are, we got blind spots. So they got to put something in there that indicates you of this other thing, another sensor in there. I am that sensor, if you allow me to be. So in that, a good man is going to be able to point out those blind spots that you may not even notice about yourself. And you know what? Just to be fair, because it's not about bashing women, a good woman does the same thing for men.
Yep.
It's a symbiotic relationship where we're able to do for each other if we allow it. Yep. I'm done.
Because you got to turn that sensor on. You can turn it off, right? You can not allow.
Oh, most definitely. Most people hate that little automatic start thing that come on their car when they come to a stop. Most people hate that. They're like, hey, turn that off. They keep my car running.
You can't say it. Sorry.
That's hilarious. Who you got going next, bro?
Oh man. Prototype. I ain't heard you disagree all night. Maybe
yes, he did. He did disagree. He disagreed.
I was absent. I was absent. So forgive me. I'm so operating.
I think he's muted.
You doing like
You're
me,
muted, bro.
You must have been taking my courses
for sure.
No, Naraya was right on. I like what she said, man. I really can't say too much more of what she said. And to add, it being symbiotic, what you said, Dwayne, man, it's the first time I've ever gave Dwayne any props. but between the two, like, you know, being able to provide that unjudged space is so key. But that's what a marriage should be in both of you guys. Like, hey, you got an idea? Let's see how it makes sense. Let's work with it. Hey, I'm thinking about this. Like, it should be both of us adulting together. You know what I'm saying? Thinking together, being one together. You know what I'm saying? So, what you got, Naraya, is a blessed thing, because most of the time women are only looking to be poured into and not to be an adult. Most of the time they want to be teenagers. You know what I'm saying? To a dad. And that's how the relationships generally are. So if you're able to have two consenting, you know, two functional adults in a relationship, that's key. You know what I mean? So we'll go with we'll hit it off with Laws.
Let's get it.
Appreciate it, Prototype. My God, you've been on it tonight, man. You know, how about to do your heavy work tonight, man? Listen, the question is, what does a good man do for a woman? First of all, you got to understand exactly what a woman needs. You know, a woman needs patience. A woman needs kindness. You know what I'm saying? That's the best thing he provides. He provides patience. Humble Dad, I don't know about you. I don't know if you like football or not, but there's a rule in football that says that a good defense and a good running game travels well in the playoffs. You know, I'm a Dallas fan, so, you know, we ain't have neither one of those this year. So, and one of the things I kept hearing is that a good running game and a good defense travels well. Well, guess what travels well? Patience and kindness travels well in a relationship. You know how I know it travels well? Because my dad passed away when I was 18 years old. And you know what? My mom still remembers his kindness. She still remembers his patience. She still remembers his love beyond the grave. And I understood exactly what that meant. My grandmother used to tell us the same thing, everything is done decent and in order.
Yeah.
And she always was kind to people. And to this very day, when I think about, when I want to snap and I want to go off on somebody, and she's like, boy, I ain't raised you like that. You know what I'm saying? And it reins me back in. As much as I want to cut up and act a fool, sometimes, I have to remember manners maketh man. I have to reel it back in and be patient, and be kind. Because sometimes your reputation will precede you. Just like tonight when I asked Ebony before we got started, did you see the show? And she was like, yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah. So I already know she's been watching our stuff. So I want to make sure that I give an accurate representation of what we do here. I want to make sure that my patience and kindness precedes us. Our reputation is all we got, man. When we come on here, we want to make sure that we give people something they can use, because that's the ultimate goal, to get more people together. So remember, kindness and patience travels well, in relationships. And I'm going to go with,
Has it been everybody?
I think that's it, man.
Yeah, I think we got everybody.
I think that's it.
That's
I'm so sorry, HD. Let me jump in here with some 2 cents, because Lost, I think that is valuable. Like, the reason why I think that is valuable is because just so we know that we're not just bashing women. From the dudes on this panel, how many of y'all have act out of character? Like, we got this character in which we built that's a good character, right? We value this thing that we built. We built this. And then you realize it snaps and behaves differently than you have built it to do. How many of y'all does that happen to? I know it happens to me, right? Yeah. So in it, I just want to put it from that standpoint. It's like, we're not perfect. As much as we're working on ourselves, we have not arrived yet, right? So in that same instance, it's like, that's the same thing for our spouse. That's the same thing for our wife. Like, and the grace and the patience and the kindness in that process. So like, we make mistakes and we mess up and we cause hurt, right? And in that, it's like, we're just humans. We're just human. So we make mistakes. So I think that's the importance, to be able to be patient and to be kind with one another and how we handle one another. Because it's not about a superiority complex. It's about unity.
That's right.
That's what's up.
My 2 cents.
Before I go, before I say what I'm gonna say, I want y'all to tell people where they can find you, and then we're gonna wrap it up. All right. We're gonna start with Lost. Where can they find you?
They can find me on Lost in Translation podcast here on YouTube, and also Humble Dads on Mondays. You can also find me on Black Man Unfiltered on Tuesdays with Flipping Tables with BMU and LIT. And you can find me on Friday nights at the barbershop on the Black Man Unfiltered, where we have unfiltered man-to-man conversation. So that's where you can find me. Also on Instagram, and I'm starting this TikTok thing too, man. That's what I heard Wes at.
That's what's up. Prototype. Absolutely.
Man, you can find me Monday nights right here with Humble Dad, man, and the Prototype Kingdom on Tuesdays on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, on every platform, Spotify. Look for us, man, and tune in.
Give me a second. On you.
Hey y'all, Give Me a Second podcast on both Instagram and TikTok, and then also the Check-In podcast with me and my fiance on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Man, love y'all. Great conversation.
That's a bet. Naraya, on you.
You can find me here on YouTube at Naraya Shiloh Podcast, also on TikTok at Lady Naraya, and on Instagram at Naraya Shiloh.
Dwayne.
Find me here with Humble Dad with some good people having some good conversation about some real life. And then you can find me at DwayneJonesPhotography.com.
Ebony.
Hey, I'm on Instagram at Ebony MD Ford. I also have a community podcast based in Atlanta called Westside Wise on all the platforms.
That's a bet. Jamil.
Everything is linked to my Facebook, Jamel Ty Man Tucker. That's it.
And everybody that's on the panel, I really appreciate your time. You're welcome to put your links in the comment sections. Okay, and I hold that, and as I tell my piece, you know, I think it's important for women specifically to acknowledge the role they play in a relationship, right? I think it's important for them to realize the strength that they have. I think Ebony kind of said it to a degree, that you all have a lot of I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Y'all have a lot of gravitas, if I could say that, or y'all have a lot of not gravitas, maybe the influence. Y'all have more influence than you believe in a relationship. So if you all would get yourselves to a space of understanding who you are as it relates to being a child of God, then I would see that you can see that in a man. You can also prepare yourself to be a wife if that's so what you choose to be. You can also be a better mother, a better community activist, a better elder. I would say if you have reached that particular level of reached that particular level, I would also say stop reaching for the trauma before you see if what the statement is a truth or a fact. Because oftentimes what I see is that when I say something like women don't want a good man or don't want good men, I've automatically been responded as, well, what about the men? Right? It's like, okay, have you even taken the time to reflect upon the decisions that you have made to say, did you miss out on a good man? Or are you also looking at yourself and saying, are there good men out there? Or am I saying that I don't need a man? Like, reflect upon the statement before you reach back in your bag of the trauma. That's all I'm asking. And I'm sure, I don't know, I'm sure I hear some comments from my family members as usual. And I appreciate that because I'm here for change and not just talking. Say, this has been a phenomenal conversation. Hopefully the new people will come back and have that conversation. And does anybody have anything to say before we get out of here?
Thank you for having me.
For having us. Yeah.
Absolutely. I told them it was going to be a dope show.
Great dialogue.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
It wasn't as bad as y'all thought it was going to be, and I wasn't.
Not too bad. I'm waiting for the next time. Maybe you don't come down on us. I'm from the ATL. I just want to say, what's up, Atlanta? That's all. What's up, Atlanta? No teas. No teas. Atlanta.
Atlanta, no teas.
Atlanta.
All right. And we out here. Until next time.
The boy is dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.